Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of A Day Late and a Dollar Short. My name's Palladium Moores, and I'll be reviewing for you today. And today we have Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. I'm doing them both in a clump because, well, Persona 4 Golden is just the expansion for Persona 4. Now, jumping straight into it, quick and the dirty, it's a 9 out of 10. This is a fantastic game. This game has an amazing story and some great characters and some really good combat and some catchy music. Unfortunately, it's not perfect. The dungeon design is bland and uninspired, and that goes double for the enemies you fight. Alright, for those who are just there for that, they're out there in the audience, you know what I mean. Thank you very much for joining me. Now for the rest of you, let's get into this thing. First off, the good. As I said before, the story is great. The story is amazing, I absolutely love it. It focuses on a murder mystery taking place in the small Japanese town of Inaba. A lot of people like to compare the main characters in this to the Scooby Gang from Scooby-Doo, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of this game does focus around them trying to solve this mystery. I think it works very well. I think the camaraderie between the characters works very well. And the characters are the next pro on this. I'm actually going to segue into that because that follows up very well with what I was going to say. The characters are all interesting and unique, and a large part of the plot is them dealing with their own issues. That's also what your social links with most of these characters revolves around. You helping them resolve and come to terms with their issues, and it works very well. Now, one thing that I absolutely love in this over Persona 3 is that it feels like each of the characters within the plot is friends with each other, as well as friends with you. In Persona 3, it kind of just felt like each of the characters was more just friends with you. And like everyone else was there, sure, and they didn't mind each other, but they didn't feel like friends. And I feel like they remedied that. Remy, I speak good. Remedy that here. The next big thing, combat. Combat is very good in this. It does a lot of things well. It adds things. It doesn't add, sorry, it was already there. Weakness, hitting a weakness knocks an enemy down, hitting them again. Well, either hitting them again stuns them. And then if you manage to knock down all enemies on the enemy team, you can go into an all-out attack. Everyone has their own role. Everyone has their own thing they're good at. Except Yosuke, who's just kind of good at everything. Oh, speaking of Yosuke. Here, they've refined it a bit from Persona 3 in that enemies knocked down, don't spend a turn getting up. That goes for you too. But hitting them again stuns them. I forgot where I was going there. Oh well, onward. And I punch my microphone, because why not? The next big pro on the list is the sound. The sound in this is absolutely amazing. From the music to the voices, everything is very well done. There are 2 combat themes, thank God, but by the end of it, you'll still probably be tired of both of them, because you're going to be doing a lot of fighting in this game. Still, overall, the music is absolutely amazing. I suggest, if you've not heard it, go look up Heaven. First time I played it, I know I never got to hear the full duration of Heaven because I kept getting the fights and that resets the music. So that is absolutely worth a listen. I think most of it is. I think Persona 3 might have the edge in music, but 4 is still amazing. As I said before, though, this game has its issues. Those are mainly in dungeons. Dungeons are just... it's better than Persona 3. Tartarus was a dull slog. The combat was fun, but the tower itself is just awful. Here, you've at least got different locales with their own themes going on. But it's still pretty bland. It's just long hallways. And I don't forgive Final Fantasy 13 for that. I don't forgive Persona 4 for that. It suffers from that. But at least one is detailed to the plot. It's detailed according to the plot. I'll put it that way. So that much is important, and it does fit, but it does make the whole climb up the dungeons kind of a chore. Which brings us to our next point, and that's that enemies are also dull and uninspired. You fight the same enemies over and over in different color variations throughout the entire game, and it gets old. They do add about anywhere from 1 to 2 new designs for enemies per dungeon, but it just feels bad to be fighting the same enemy for the 3rd dungeon in a row, except now they're blue. And it does take away a lot from exploration and from dungeons. That being said, though, unlike certain other games, most of what you're doing doesn't take place in dungeons. Dungeons are important, yes. Most of what you're going to be doing is social links outside of it, or doing other things like raising your stats. Unlike most RPGs, that's not where the brunt of what you're doing lies. the brunt of what you're doing lies outside. And I think because of that, it's a lot easier to look past those issues. And that being said, the enemies in each of the areas, the boss enemies, make up for that. And they all have their own unique themes, too, which is really cool. Okay, that's it for the good and the bad. And now for the reason why Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden have the same score. You'd think I would give Persona 4 Golden a higher score because they added stuff, and that's always good, right? Well, let's go into that, shall we? I'm going to be honest. There's only about 2 things Persona 4 Golden added that I really enjoyed. The first is that now you can use spell cards to give your personas any abilities you want them to have. I'm clumping this in with the general personas improvements that they made. So now you can basically take any persona you want through the entire game. You get it, you put it on, and you'll get new stats from the card game, and you'll get new spells with spell cards. Oh, also, you can get certain specific spell cards off of your own persona. So that gives you a reason to build up certain persona, so you can buff up your favorite persona with whatever you want. Not that I do that. Izanagi level 99 with 99 all stats. Anyway, that's the second improvement they've made, and that's the card game. Gone are when you have to like pick a random card that's swirling around and pray it's the one you were looking for because God, I need that fairy. No, now it just shows you all of them and you pick what you want from it. Now the thing is, each of these cards has their own unique properties. Some of them are just, personas. Some of them are just stat boosts. But others have the ability to have more picks. Like, half money gives you pick 2 more. And the trick is to balance the negatives with the positives. Is it worth getting 0 experience in this combat in order to grab everything and have a guaranteed draw next turn? Or would you rather just take the money and run? Whoa. Sorry, that was terrible. Anyway, I feel like that's a big improvement over Persona 3. And 4, base 4. That's where the good stuff for Persona 4 Golden ends, in my opinion. All of the new stuff they've added into the storyline and plot is just trite and cliched, and it's just forced in. Oh my God, is it forced in? It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't flow with the rest of the plot. Like, they decided to do another babe hunt because that's a good idea. No, don't get me wrong. Don't look at me like that. I love the babe hunt in Persona 3. It worked very well, but it worked because of the characters gathered there. Junpei has no idea what he's doing. Akihiko has no idea what he's doing. He's the straight man. And it worked. It worked. It flowed. It was organic. Here it feels so forced. And then it ends with a fat joke with Hanako. And it's just like, who wrote this? Why? Why did they write this? And it doesn't get better. There's a forced-in beach trip because, I guess, bikinis. Which does have one funny joke and a wardrobe malfunction on Kanji's part. Which is funny. But on the overall, the scene just felt extraneous and unnecessary. And it feels that way for each of the other scenes as well. Culminating in the Valentine's Day scene. And for one, the one thing I like about that is if you're one of those people who likes to date multiple girls, hoo boy, you're about to pay for that. But the only reason I can't give that scene like a full-on that's great is because it ignores so much of the character development your girls went through. In some cases, the girls don't even sound like themselves. It's just poorly written, out of character. And that's the other additional scenes, too. It just seems like it ignores the character development and where the characters are at currently. And considering that for these you have to have been at max social link, it doesn't make sense for them to have been acting like that. And this brings us to the grand mal of all what moments. That's Marie. I know Marie has her fans, but she was the most crowbarring character I think I've ever encountered. I don't even know where to start with Marie. She's a tsundere, or however you say that. So she doesn't like you, but she likes you. Which by itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but she's a poorly written one. And she's written as a Mary Sue, and that just gets worse and worse as the game goes on, as her storyline goes on. They try to force her into the group. Every time you have a social link with Marie, someone from the group or everyone from the group is going to be there. And, they love Marie. And then you never see her in any relevant plot stuff because Atlas didn't want to rewrite the whole plot to make way for this character. And I wish, honestly, they had. Because that would have made more sense than what we got with Marie. And they could have made her a new character easily. I would have loved that. I might not have liked her personality, but hell, having a new character would have been pretty cool. But no, that's not what we get. What we get is this all-powerful Mary Sue that just doesn't fit into the plot. With all that being said, though, all the stuff that made Persona 4 great is still there. Yes, we have new voice actresses because poor Teddy, actors voice acting Teddy and Chie. Now, I don't like Chie's voice actress as much as I like the original, but she still does a good job, so it's not really a major complaint. But everything else, everything that made Persona 4 great is still there. It's just now you have to go through some ho-hum scenes to get back to the good stuff. And that's all about all that I can English and for the easy guys. That's about all I've got for you guys. If you liked it, please feel free to poke that like button. And hey, the sub button's there if you'd like to see more from me. And I will be seeing you